Hello, all you valiant humans out there. Sienna Songbird coming to you live September 17th, 2022 to share the news that this is a monumental day for me. And even though I'm feeling quite out of it, I want to share with you now because this one who you see may not be here for long. I am going through quite a transformation, and in the next time as this most recent happening settles in, I am imagining that I will start to even look different. So, to cut to the chase, I have been working on healing myself of complex chronic illness since I was about 20. I am 32 now, and I today have succeeded in something that has long eluded me, and that is to free myself and especially my organs of quite a motherlode stockpile of toxic sludge, heavy stuff that has been interfering with my ability to show up in the world and especially process everything that my body comes into contact with. I have been aware of liver issues for many years, and I have tried so many things. And I've done the Andreas Moritz liver flush before a handful of times over the last 8 years. And I've had some success and I've had stones come out, but I didn't feel like I was fully getting to it. And it hasn't been until this more recent time, especially since I've been on the GAPS diet, which has now been about 6 months, that I have been on extended stage 2, basically, of the intro GAPS diet, that I have been getting my liver more flow in it because of asking for more bile to process more fat. And now that I've been getting that starting to move, and my liver flushes, the GAPS shakes, some of the herbal liver support that I've been doing, milk thistle, but then especially most recently, only in the last 3 weeks, have I been working with roasted dandelion root, and it is doing some very powerful things. I've also been taking Chanca Piedra tincture around some of these liver flushes the last 2 months. And so this is my 4th flush of this season, basically, of this cycle that I have been doing it. And a hummingbird. And it has, so things have started to, I think with the bile is starting to lubricate things in there, and it's just finally, also the hydration techniques that I've been doing, not just the fat, but then also following the root cause protocol, doing the electrolyte drinks called the adrenal cocktail. Those have really been helping me out, and there's so many aspects of it, but I just wanted to share some of these amazing results with you to hopefully inspire some of you to give another shot to this Andreas Moritz, the amazing liver and gallbladder flush. Hulda Clark also talked about this flush, but I've really studied Andreas Moritz's book, I'll share some links below for that. And yeah, so I have been coming to the realization just recently that I always had this like feeling that my liver was struggling and that there was something going on, but I have not had a lot of luck or really pushed myself too much into the mainstream doctor world after having, you know, not success with telling them that I was sick, you know, and them telling me that they couldn't find anything wrong with me. So I never really had tests, but I'm starting to realize now that I'm pretty sure I was in a pretty critical level of liver disease. I'm not sure if the only thing to call it is fatty liver disease, which used to be a thing that alcoholics only got, really. But there's a sugar connection too, and more importantly and more applicably nowadays, the overabundance of toxic load on a lot of the population is leading to this sort of fatty liver, congested, sluggish liver on like epidemic proportions. Medical medium even talks about, hugely talks about the sluggish, congested liver. And now in my studies with the GAPS diet, I also have been learning that even children these days, sometimes as young as 2, have livers full of stones, have livers full of gallstones. So, in case you don't know, the gallbladder and the liver work together. The liver makes bile, and if it's not needed at that time, it gets stored in the gallbladder sac. And when the liver is super overloaded, like say it has too much going on in the body and we still have incoming toxins, it can't process them, and so it will do this cool thing where it kind of sequesters a toxin or even like a chunk of a parasite, a chunk of something that it's having that the body does not want to be exposed to. It will put bile around it and kind of tuck it away in its like recesses, which the liver has like vast networks of all these cells that actually kind of function. They all can pretty much do all of the jobs, which is really amazing. But it's just like this crazy large network that bile flows from like all these different places and comes into ducts and then like empties into larger ducts and then, you know, exits out of the largest duct. So it encases a little bundle of toxic material that it doesn't have time to get to right now. I'll get to you later. And it sticks it away, and those little pockets, those little envelopes with something bad in there, can be viral, can be bacterial, can be fungal, can be yeast, can be metals, can be chemicals, can be all sorts of things. Parasites is a common one. And anyways, sometimes it doesn't get back to taking care of them, or so many are coming in that it's not keeping up. And sadly, this is the case for a lot of us, and our livers are really doing the best they can. And but if it doesn't get to them, then more bile and cholesterol and different things that are sort of passing through the liver start wrapping around this envelope and making it bigger. And then eventually, if it stays there long enough, salts, the bile is high in salts and minerals, those start to accumulate on the outside and kind of like dry and crystallize. And these stones eventually become crystallized and hard, and therefore they don't move through the ducts very easily. So, people think you get stones in your gallbladder, but more often than not, they're actually building up in your liver. Also, or only, I'm pretty sure it's trying to protect the gallbladder, you know, and storing things away in its organ. So, this particular flush I've sort of been coming to this realization that I've been in a severe state with my liver, and this flush that I executed last night into this morning has pretty much confirmed that for me. And I also feel like this flush marks a turning point in my career of winning my case, because I have been the main doctor on my own illness case, which has been very complex and severe. The hummingbird is back. So yeah, so I know that today marks a turning point for me, and so I'm excited to share some results with you, and also I will be detailing more about the flush in another video, like all the stuff. And if you have any particular questions, feel free to let me know. But I'm following the Andreas Moritz protocol, which you should be able to find online. And it's very simple. You soften the stones over a week by consuming a lot of malic acid, which is in apples, and you can do a lot of apple juice. You can also do a type of cherry juice, I think. Cranberry also has it. Apple cider vinegar also has it. But again, the quantity you need to consume is quite a bit. And if you have sugar issues, the apple juice can be kind of intense. So you can also just do straight malic acid as a supplement. So you do that for 6 days leading up to the day that you flush, and then the day that you're going to flush, you don't eat any fat to sort of save up the bile, so that night it has a bunch of bile to sort of swoosh everything out when you initiate that dump. So you don't eat any fat, and you finish eating at, like, depending on what you're scheduling your flush for. Andreas Moritz's original one, you flush at 10 p.m., but that doesn't really feel that good for me with my bedtime schedule, so I bump it up, and I flushed last night at around 8 p.m. So you finish eating around 1 p.m. and pretty much fast for the rest of the day. You have to also clean your bowels, and then you start drinking Epsom salts that evening, these doses of Epsom salts, and those are magnesium, magnesium sulfate, magnesium to basically relax and dilate the ducts, all the ducts. And so you're softening the stones with the malic acid, and then you're dilating and relaxing the bile ducts. And then right before laying down for sleep, you drink a mixture of olive oil and grapefruit juice. Pretty big quantity, about half a cup each. You mix that up, you drink it, and then you lay down right away, and you're supposed to stay completely still and silent for at least a half an hour. And last night I was already, just from eating differently, it's like somehow, you know how sometimes your body knows when there's like a big thing that's gonna happen, or like a wellness process, or some sort of purge is happening. It felt like that. My body knew it was like already detoxing, like hardcore. Before I even got to the flush, I had like headaches, and I had like stuff coming through out of my tooth, and it was just like I was really weak and really out of it. It was like I was already super detoxing. Just from eating lighter and drinking juice and the liver medicines I'm doing, like the roasted dandelion root tea. So it was a really strong process already, and he drank the mixture and laid down. And I felt it. Andreas Moritz says sometimes you feel them like rolling down the tubes. And I usually don't feel much, but last night I was like, wow, I'm feeling things. I even told my partner later, like, I think this was a good one. I think something happened. And, but yeah, I was laying there and there were like these different pressures happening. Like, there were times when I was like, whoa, is that a big one? It feels like it almost got stuck. And then there would be like this pressure, and then it would like shift and like move into the intestines, and then it would like build up the pressure again, and then it would like shift and keep moving down. And I was like, whoa, there's like stuff moving, you know? None of it hurts at all because everything is so relaxed and soft, and then you go to sleep. But in this case, I was experiencing such a powerful flush that the toxin load that was dumped into my intestines was so strong that I basically slept for a few hours, and then I woke up and I couldn't sleep anymore, and I had a lot of like mental preoccupation, like just churning in my mind, and it wasn't the worst, you know. You could end up being nauseous. I didn't really have that, but just restless and definitely feeling a little bit unwell. And now I know why. And so this morning, I actually had a first bowel movement like in the night, and already passed a little bit of like more like sludge from the liver, which floats on the surface because it's like the fatty stuff. The chanca piedra will break stones into sludge, so sometimes that happens. You'll not see stones, you'll see sludge. Anyways, I had a movement already in the middle of the night, and then in the morning, I got up, went to the bathroom, and mostly liquid. Like when you're drinking that much Epsom salt, you have a lot of water stools, like just water. So it was like water, but then there was like something that came out and plopped, you know? You like felt it come out. And and then looked in the toilet, and there was this. I can't totally tip it because it'll fall, but you see it kind of looks like a heart. This was the stone that came out first, and after that came out, I already felt these waves of relief. You know, what's really interesting about this process, which I've noticed, is that you'd think that you'd feel like immediately better when it's out of your liver, but no, the body doesn't like acknowledge it being gone until you actually pass it out of your body through your bowels, which is just fascinating to me. It's like the body knows that the biohazard is still there, even though the liver has been freed of it, you know, which you'd think would feel really good. So anyways, this stone comes out, and it's bigger than anything I've ever passed on my liver flushes by like at least 2.5 times. It's a big one, and I felt these like kind of like waves of relaxation finally after that, and I like laid down and I was like, oh my gosh, finally, you know, like I had such a anxious time in bed, and then after passing this, I felt these like waves of just relief and relaxation. And I was like, man, I knew it was going to be a good one. Like, wow, look at that big stone, you know? Well, that stone was just like the herald. It was like, is that the one that runs ahead, you know, and announces the army? something like the Herald, heart-shaped Herald, very tan colored too. And then the next bowel movement I had, which I wasn't even worried. I was like, that was it, you know, like I got it. That was it. Next time I had the urge to go, it felt like a bowel movement, but I knew that there was nothing in there because I'd already cleaned it all out the day before, and I knew exactly where I was at with that, and I knew there was nothing. I'd eaten nothing. I drank some grapefruit juice, some olive oil. Tyel drank the same thing a couple days ago, and she just passed like 10 little stones, like this big, you know? So all I had in my system was that. And I looked into the toilet, and I just never imagined that I could have stones like this inside of my liver. And I ended up passing a second load when I did an enema later when I was starting to feel bad. But these are just insane, and they are packed. They're like stones made of stones, like packed upon stones. Some of them have bigger stones inside, smaller stones. There's different colors. Now they've gotten a little bit less brilliant in their colors, but a lot of them are quite dark green and very old. Look at this. I mean, this is like a pound of material, of matter. This is like a 7-inch, you know, the really large Pyrex bowl. And these didn't even hurt coming out. I felt it though. But this is what I mean, like, you cannot be okay and have this in your liver. You just can't. And I have had all these issues where, like, I can't breathe very well, have a really hard time moving my diaphragm, have pain. I've had a hard time even sitting up for several years, and I had no idea that it was probably my liver in like a diseased state that had basically enlarged, swollen, filled with this stuff. Each of those stones is wrapped around something toxic, like a tiny bit of really potent toxic chemical or metal or parasite, eggs, biofilm, viruses, every single one of those. And then they're packing into these like big conglomerate stones. So it's just like, no wonder, you know? No wonder I've been having a hard time processing things or detoxing, breathing, you know? So I really feel like can't go back from here. Like, ain't no way these things are getting back in my body, you know? This is out now. So I want to celebrate that today and just encourage the impossible for the people, you know? Like, this is real stuff. It's like having undergone surgery. Just imagine that organ in there, right here. All that mass that moved out of it, it's like, just imagine it's like, there's like these weird empty spaces now, like big ones. So I don't need to feel great right now, and I imagine things are gonna shift pretty drastically, but I can tell you that I feel smaller in my in my guts area, like under my ribs. And I'm just so looking forward to having more room to breathe and having more ease of movement, and my liver being able to like come back to the shape that it wants to be in my body. So give thanks to the great mystery that has allowed me to persevere with such tenacity to get to this point for this kind of a harvest, which is just super epic. So I am going to include some pictures at the end of this, so that, because it's kind of hard to see on video, and actually pictures are pretty hard to see too, but it's like I just had to share just some bit of perspective on this, because I would never have believed that could come out of me if it wasn't seeing it and experiencing it. So I will put some pictures in at the end of this video, and yeah, please know that the power to free your organs is within your reach, and I'm just so grateful for my efforts and the stars to align like this. You know, it's the equinox here, and the equinox is actually known as a time of instability, because they're like, you know, it's like teetering in this balance, right? So it's actually a time of instability. So that could have also had a part to play in like dislodging this incredible package, you know, just clearing out the pipes like that. So whatever it is, there's many factors, and I've mentioned some of them, but it is good, and hallelujah. So thank you for being brave enough to investigate some of these less than comfortable topics, and feel free to message me. Feel free to comment below. I will respond, and keep an eye out for some more videos down the line. Okay, ciao. Oh, and I forgot to mention too that this load of stones is not even, it's just a part of what actually came out, because I didn't collect any of the small stones, any of the loose stones, any of the stones that were breaking into chunks. There were toilet bowls, like probably 6 toilet bowls full of little stones too, or even more than that. And there was a couple other big pieces too. So this is just a sampling of it, the sort of more exciting part of the sampling. But just so you know, there was a lot more stones that came out.
I am your liver, the largest organ inside you. I'm like a supercomputer of the body for all I do. I am your liver, more than 500 things I do. I can perform 200 things at the same time inside of you. The biliary system, a major system you see. This helps your small intestine digest all the food that you will eat. I produce all of your bile, your gallbladder stores it up until food enters your system, then it secretes through bile ducts. The bile's jobs to break down fats from all the food you eat, so your small intestine can easily absorb what you will need. I am your liver, the largest organ inside you. I'm like a supercomputer of the body for all I do. I am your liver, more than 500 things I do. I can perform 200 things at the same time inside of you. Another impressive job in which the liver has to do, it filters toxins from your blood and shoots them out with pee and poo. The network of blood vessels within the right and left lobes can store 10% of the body's blood. It filters well, it flows. 3 pints of blood is filtered through your liver every minute, so please treat your body well.